What is a bond? A bond is essentially, just think of it like any other loan, even just you loaning money to a friend. It's a loan made from an investor to a borrower. In most cases, if you're talking about corporate bonds, then the borrower is a company. It's Apple. Apple wants to borrow some money to make products and make more money off of those products, and they will sell you bonds and pay you for loaning them money now. But these are used by companies, states, and governments to finance projects. While you are holding the bond, you're being paid the interest on the loan. Again, just like any other loan, mortgage has interest, payday loans, whatever. Every kind of loan has interest. Think of the bond as just a loan. At the end of that loan period, you also get the initial amount back that you paid for the bond. So in general, the riskier the bond, the more you're going to have to pay somebody, right? Think of it like this. You've got two uncles. One of them is very trustworthy and he wants to borrow $100. You may say, okay, I'll give you $100, but I want you to give me 105 back. You have another uncle who never really ever gives you the money back when you've loaned it to him before, and you're tired of loaning it to him, and you say, okay, the only way I'm going to loan you $100 is if you promise that you're going to pay me back 150, because you're that risky of a borrower. It's the same thing. So you can buy bonds that have a higher return, but they're going to be riskier, and that uncle may not pay you back anything at all, right? So you have to balance risk and reward when it comes to your bond choices if you're buying individual bonds and not big mutual funds like what we're talking about here today. The two main types are government bonds and corporate bonds. So here's an example of how a bond makes you money, right? Let's say that your local county, this is our local convention center here. Let's say that your county wants to build a convention center. They want money now so that they can build it, because they know that once they build it, businesses are going to be paying them to use the convention center. Those people going to the conventions are going to be visiting restaurants and local businesses, bringing in tax revenue. So they know they're going to make the money back. But right now they need the money to build it. So they say, okay, we're going to sell $30 million worth of bonds, and they'll be 10-year bonds, right? And we'll pay people 2% a year to hold the bonds over the next 10 years. At the end of those 10 years, you also get your money back. So let's say that they split that up into $100 bonds. They're going to sell 300,000 $100 bonds, because remember, they need 30 million. So 300,000 different $100 bonds is 30 mil. You can buy as many of these $100 bonds as you want, but let's say you just bought one. You give them $100, they give you the $100 bond. The coupon rate or interest, if you want to, you're probably familiar with the word interest, but the coupon rate is 2%. The maturity is 10 years. So they're going to pay you 2% of $100, which is $2. So they're going to pay you $2 every year for 10 straight years. That's $20. Then at the end of the 10 years, you're going to give the bond, you get your $100 back, right? So you got $120 total on a initial $100 investment. You put in 100, you got 120 out, so that nets you a $20 return. That's a very basic example of how a bond would work, how it would make you money. Now, inside of your worked retirement account, you're buying mutual funds that have thousands and thousands and thousands of bonds. It's a little different in the mutual fund setting than it would be you buying in one individual bond, right? But I'm just trying to give you an idea of how they work. Another way that you can make money off of them is you could sell a bond to somebody anytime you want. So just because you bought that $100 bond, that doesn't mean that you have to hold it the entire 10 years. You could sell it to somebody else at any point. And you got to think of it this way, is when that bond gets written, like it in our example is giving you 2% back, right? Let's say that 5 years from now, you need your money back, or you need money. So you say, crap, I need to get this bond back. You can sell it to somebody else. It has 5 years on it, and they know they're going to get $2 a year. So that bond is worth at least $10, right? It's going to give you 2% a year. Plus, they know it's worth the $100. They're going to get the $100 back at the end of the thing too. So it's worth $110 at least, right? But as interest rates change, as our government's federal central banks are changing interest rates higher and lower, that bond you have may be more attractive now than it was back at the time that it was written, and vice versa. It may be less attractive now. You may end up not getting as much for it. So that's the way that bonds can make or lose you money in the long term. Now, granted, if you're holding it the whole period, then you know exactly how much you're going to get paid on it.